Got it. I'll expand scene 1 into a single, continuous, cinematic story, deeply emotional, intense, and well over 1500 words, staying focused on one moment only without jumping scenes or timelines. Scene 1, the moment the street went silent. The police cruiser sat at an angle across the curb, its engine humming low, like a warning growl that never quite went away. The red and blue lights were off, but their absence didn't make the situation feel any less dangerous. In fact, it made it worse. It meant this wasn't about safety anymore. It was about control. The late afternoon sun hung low between the buildings, casting long shadows across the intersection. Office workers slowed their steps. Drivers rolled down their windows just a little. Everyone could feel it, the tension that crept into the air when authority decided to flex without reason. A young black man stood near the hood of the cruiser. His hands were visible, too visible, fingers spread, shoulders stiff. He hadn't moved in minutes, not because he was told not to, but because experience had taught him that stillness could be the difference between going home and not going home at all. Across the street, Amani Brooks stopped walking. She hadn't planned to stop. She had been heading to the subway, mind already running through case briefs and deadlines, the weight of law school sitting heavy on her shoulders like it always did. But something in her chest tightened the second she saw the posture of the man by the car, and the posture of the officer facing him. Amani knew that stance. She had studied it. She had lived it. She had written papers about it. Officer Hale stood too close. One hand hovered near his belt, not resting, not relaxed. His feet were planted wide, claiming space that didn't belong to him. His voice, sharp and impatient, cut through the traffic noise. "Don't argue with me. I asked you a question." The man swallowed. I already answered, sir." Amani's jaw clenched. She crossed the street slowly, deliberately. Not rushing, not sneaking, every step measured. She could feel eyes on her now, some curious, some nervous, some silently begging her not to get involved. But she was already involved. She stopped a few feet away, far enough not to be accused of interference, close enough to be heard. "Officer," she said, her voice calm but clear, "what's the reason for the stop?" Officer Hale turned his head slowly, irritation flashing across his face like a warning flare. "This doesn't concern you, ma'am." Amani nodded once, as if she expected that answer. "Actually, it does. You're conducting a public stop. Citizens have the right to observe." The man by the cruiser glanced at her, fear and hope colliding in his eyes. Hale scoffed. "Are you a lawyer?" Amani didn't hesitate. "I'm a law student. And you still need reasonable suspicion." That did it. Hale stepped closer to her now, trying to reassert dominance, lowering his voice in the way men often did when they wanted to sound threatening without sounding loud. "Don't tell me how to do my job." Amani met his stare without flinching. Her heart was pounding, but she'd learned long ago not to let it show. "I'm not telling you how to do your job," she said evenly. "I'm asking you to justify it." A small crowd had begun to gather. Someone lifted a phone, then another. The sound of recording, the soft click, the faint buzz, felt louder than sirens. Hale noticed. "You people always want to turn this into something," he snapped. Amani's eyebrows lifted slightly. "You people." The words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. A murmur rippled through the onlookers. Hale straightened, realizing too late what he'd said. You meant exactly what you said," Amani replied. "And now it's on record." She gestured subtly to the phones around them. The man by the cruiser shifted his weight, his voice barely audible. "Officer, am I being detained?" Hale ignored him, eyes locked on Amani. "If you keep interfering, I'll have you removed." Amani inhaled slowly, steadying herself. This was the moment. The line between fear and resolve. "Interfering would be touching you or obstructing your movement," she said. "Standing here and asking questions is protected speech." Hale's face reddened. "Turn around," he barked at the man. "For what reason?" the man asked, his voice trembling now. Silence. Not the kind that passes quickly, but the kind that exposes everything. Amani felt it in her bones. "There it is," she said quietly. "You don't have one." Hale spun toward her. "Enough. Enough unlawful intimidation," she shot back, her voice rising just enough for everyone to hear. "You stopped him because he looked suspicious, didn't you?" "That's not. Because he was black. Because he was alone. Because you thought no one would question you." Gasps. Someone whispered, "She's right." Hale's radio crackled at his shoulder. "Unit 12, what's your status?" He hesitated before responding. "Routine stop." Amani stepped closer, not threatening, just present. "Unmovable." "Then explain it," she said. "On camera. Right now." Hale's jaw tightened. Sweat dotted his temple. Another patrol car pulled up slowly. A second officer stepped out, older, calmer. He scanned the scene, the phones, the posture of the detained man, the unmistakable tension. "What's going on?" the second officer asked. Before Hale could answer, Amani spoke. This officer initiated a stop without stating reasonable suspicion, used biased language, and escalated without cause. The second officer looked at Hale. Then at the man by the cruiser. "Sir," he asked gently, "were you informed why you were stopped?" The man shook his head. "No, sir." The second officer exhaled. That single breath felt like a verdict. "Officer Hale," he said carefully, "step aside." Hale stared at him. "What? I'll handle this." For a moment, Hale didn't move. Pride, anger, fear, all warring behind his eyes. Then the phones tilted closer. He stepped back. The second officer turned to the man. "You're free to go. I apologize for the inconvenience." The man blinked, stunned. Thank you." He walked away slowly, then faster, disappearing into the crowd. Amani watched him go, her chest tight. The second officer turned back to Hale, his voice low but firm. "There will be a review." Hale's shoulders sagged just slightly. Enough for everyone to see. The street was silent now. Then, soft applause. Not loud, not celebratory. Respectful. Amani felt her eyes burn, but she didn't let the tears fall. She adjusted her bag strap, turned, and walked away as the crowd parted for her. No victory pose. No speech. Just a quiet truth echoing behind her. Knowing your rights doesn't make you powerful. Using them does. If you want, I can. Make this even darker and more intense. Rewrite it from the officer's paw. Or adapt it perfectly for a YouTube voiceover script. Just tell me.